Hello StarCraft 2 fans, I'm just going to do a quick guide slash run through of a typical Swann mission, since there's always seems to be questions about Swans on the StarCraft 2 forums, so we're just going to dive right into it with masteries. So here we're looking at power set 1, concentrated beam width versus damage versus combat drop and duration. I greatly prefer combat drop duration over beam width just because combat drop it'll wipe out 1 point, and then with enough points in here you can move them on to a second or a third base, basically, just because each one has like 700 HP per, so you have 6 of those, that's like what, 4,000 something HP total. It's just a giant wall destroying base. The beam width is nice for more leniency in your aim. I do kind of like it. It's pretty good, but I would say combat drops better. Power set 2 is personal preference. If you build a lot of tanks and Thors, immortality of course is great, because even if you lose a unit, you just build it right back up like you never lost it. And even if you're microing well, sometimes you just lose a tank or two, and it's just nice to have the revive, basically, even if it costs gas. Versus structure health, which is good if you're turtling, or if you're just spamming turrets around at choke points, basically. I'm not much of a turret spammer, so I usually just go immortal. And then Vespene drone cost versus laser drill build. I prefer Vespene drone cost because maxed it's down to 90 minerals. So if you think about it, in early when you're just building up your base early on, you go from spending 400 minerals on drones down to 40, so 360 minerals. That's basically a command center that covers your expo, basically. So that's actually really good early on, and Swann really needs his economy help. Laser drill build is actually not as bad as you would think, because if you put 5 points into it, that's minus 10 seconds. Which is minus 10 seconds building it, and then minus 10 seconds upgrading it the first time, and then the second time. So it's actually 5 points is minus 30 seconds. But not as good as Vespene drone cost, I would say. My usual loadout here is 5 in beam width for more leniency in my aim, 25 in combat drop, either all in immortality, because I use tanks a lot, or mostly in and then some in structure. Rarely will I go all in structure. Depends on a mutation if I'm doing mutations. I don't do that for brutal, really. And then Vespene drone, I actually do like 25 points. So it's 25 Vespene drone, 100 minerals total for your first base and your ally, which isn't too bad. That's not much. And then, like I said, I do 5 points here for the minus 10 seconds, which is minus 30 seconds total. But since I'd like this to be a guide for beginners too, I'm actually going to go 0 points in my masteries, just to show what he's like even when he's at a low mastery. And for mission, I'm going to do missed opportunities, because it's got the early expo. I think it's pretty typical. It's got the early expo with rocks guarding it instead of an enemy base. It's both attack and defense, because you have to attack the point and then defend it for a while. And there's multiple waves coming from a variety of different locations on the map. So it's good just to get your units moving. And despite what you might think, Swann is pretty mobile depending on what units you're using. So if I'm lucky, I'll have an enemy comp where I can really demonstrate how mobile he can be. So let's get right into it then. Alright, so the first important thing is build order. I do 14 supply depot, 15 factory, then I start saving up for turrets to build up, to blow up my expansion and to guard against early waves. I'll link a StarCraft 2 topic from the StarCraft 2 forums that talks about build orders and optimizing early on, which is kind of important for Swann because he can kind of afford to just go econ because his turrets are so strong that he can defend with just turrets. He can even attack with turrets if you bring SCVs along and allies push. So it's pretty cool. But for me, I just use this one weird build order that I'm used to. It works. It's good for me. I don't really have much of a reason to use a different one. But so Swann has multi SCV build or whatever you call it. So you should always try and build with 2 SCVs or more, just to push things out as soon as possible. So then they're on to their next thing. It's actually not a waste of like gather time if you want to think about it that way, because you get both SCVs back just as fast or faster using multi-build anyway. So there's no loss. It just means you can get your factory up sooner, you can get turrets up sooner. Everything's good. So don't worry about it too much. Just go for double. He's actually helping, which is kind of different for most rainers I see, but any little bit helps. Yeah. So I usually would do Vespine drones by now, but like I said, 0 mastery, don't have much minerals to spare, and looks like we have Protoss. But let's see, let's start building out my refineries, and then I'll start doing Vespine. That one too. Never stop building drones or SCVs because Swann is hungry for resources. He's a fat man and he loves resources. So most important thing about turrets is you can salvage them for all the money back. So now that those blew up, I can salvage them, get 300 minerals back, and then build my command center, which is pretty cool. Let's Vespine up that one too. And if you notice, I do a Flaming Betty and a Blaster Billy because it covers basically everything. He didn't really let me demonstrate it, but there's basically nothing that'll stop that. If anything does, it'll be the roaches, but you can always just repair it with an SCV and then you'll win. So it's pretty good. I would highly recommend just going for those two, especially since it's only 225 minerals that you can refund. Alright, so we're just building now. Since I saw Protoss, I'm probably going to go tank Wraith, because that's my favorite one. So let's build my starport up. Let's see, I still am missing a drone there. Hopefully this guy looks like he's going Bioball, so he's not going to do Vulture Cheese, which I don't like because it's not going to demonstrate Swann very well. Let's see, get my tank going. If I need to help him, I have my drop down. I don't think I'll need to help him. Let's help him. I don't know. Don't know if those Reens would have lasted. So let's go there. So yeah, this is why I like combat drop, because here I'm defending the first point, but I'm also attacking to get the next points out of the way. Also, it's just acting as a wall for his Reens, so they don't really die. I'm gonna suicide yeah, I'm gonna suicide these guys since they're close to the wall over here. And they're pretty strong. I mean, 15 damage, 2 attacks every 1.5 seconds. That's kind of a lot, actually. So let's build up my refineries. Get a tank. Oh, look, he did his call down too, so we basically just wiped that pretty easily and for free. So got my first tank. Got my research, which is also important. You don't want to be supply locked. I'm almost supply locked. You never want to be supply locked as Swann because he takes time to build his, and he has to dedicate SCVs to it, of course. So we're gonna drone up. Those things are still alive. That's crazy. So now I have my Hercules. Best thing about these, they can load 8 tanks. They can load them sieged. They drop them sieged. Basically, that's amazing. So, and you can teleport them. So it's like that. They also have 600 HP and they're 3 armored. So they're tanks for your tanks, basically, which is great. Sometimes you just need to run away your tanks because of whatever reason. Maybe there's banelings and you just want to teleport them away. So that's a thing. It's cool. Let's see. Working on another starport because I want to push out lots of wraiths. and also vessel, of course, for repairs. Let's bring these guys over. So, like I said, this carries 8, so I need 3 more. And honestly, those 8 tanks are enough for pretty much any comp, as long as you're accompanying with them with like Goliaths or Wraiths, which is what I like to do. And now he's going Vultures. Hopefully not too many Vultures, I don't want him cheesing the map. Go. Supply locked sucks. Life sucks when you're supply locked. You can't do anything fun. Then you can always retreat when they get close like that with Hercules, which is awesome. Get these 2 guys back. And he's just following my tanks around, which is cool. Start upgrading. Range is really cool because it goes from 13 to 14. Doesn't sound like much, but when they don't shoot very fast, like with tanks, weapon speed of 3, 14 is actually a lot. So let's do this. Let's get my laser drill going, and actually let's push the bonus point. This will be pretty easy, and it'll show off how strong tanks actually are. So they just act as your wall, you know, even without mastery, 480 HP, 6 of them, that's what, 3000 HP, basically. That's a lot. Push, get out the air. Even those immortals are having a hard time taking them out. I'll cover that in a moment if I have to. Looks like I'm gonna have to. So we're still good there.
Our allies are being attacked.
Like I said, Hercules Swann more mobile than you might think. Let's bring him back. Helps that I'm also gonna be using Wraiths. And let's start macroing. Get all those and just spam some supply depots. He still hasn't done his geysers. It's kind of annoying. But that's what we're going with. Let's see. Oh, these I need to research and upgrade, of course. And he just wiped out all that. Alright. So actually we could probably, yep, we can. Let's just kill this stuff. See, that's the power of Hercules. I'll tank this scout, who cares? And just let my laser kill him. Actually, the void's starting to get to be a bit much. So let's move back. We're just gonna micro him down. And now these guys are just dumb and dying. And I'm laughing. Oh, they took one out, but whatever, you know. Let's go repair. And he's got his vulture cheese, so it's like whatever, right?
Upgrade complete.
So we're gonna hide behind him. Everything's super dead. Looks like the rest of this map is gonna be a breeze because he's got his vultures that he likes.
Insufficient Vespine gas. Insufficient Vespine gas.
The moment those come in range is not gonna be good for them. That's why I'm just gonna pump out Wraiths now. Because this enemy comp is actually really susceptible to air. It's just Protoss Mech, which has no anti-air, except Adepts, which Wraiths can dodge and attack slow anyway, and Sentries, which don't do enough damage to matter. So let's just start wiping. I don't think this guy cares if he's vulture cheesing, since he's vulture cheesing anyway. Let me get a second starport actually. Let's Let's go for the bonus too. Alright. I'm gonna need more supply depots.
Your forces are under attack.
Let's make sure I have all my researches, which I do. Oh, enemy attack. I don't think it's gonna matter, honestly. He's got mines everywhere, so we're just gonna move forward. Let's see. There we go.
Our allies are being attacked. Upgrade.
Cloak for some defense. Let's get the air out of the way. Oh, he blew that thing up. These guys are dying. Kind of dying. It's no biggie.
Add-on complete.
Let's see, 16, so we're gonna go 8.
Our allies are being attacked.
Even though I'm kind of microing pretty poorly, it doesn't matter. He also has my back, so that's whatever. Decloak. Alright, so how many things is that? So I have 6. Can grab these 2, right? Alright. So let's grab these 2 guys. Bring them here. Alright. Is that all the way? Let's build more vessels.
Are being attacked.
Alright, so the rest of this game is just going to be easy peasy. Not much excitement going on.
Insufficient Vespene gas.
So actually I'll use this time to talk about other units. Mostly the Hellion and Goliath, which other people will probably use more. I like them, they're good units, Hellions and Goliaths, but I just have more fun with raids.
Our allies are
Is he
being
attacking?
attacked.
He's kind of attacking. I'm just going to guard this point for now while I talk about Hellions and raids. Or Hellions and Goliaths. And so these 2 units actually complement each other pretty well. I think Hellbats are actually their worst form, the worst form of the 2 for these guys. Because if you look at it, 2.25 movement speed versus 2.7. So Goliaths are always going to be pushing up against Hellions and outrunning them. But if you turn them into Hellbats, then it becomes good old 4.25 and 2.7. Plus, at that range, these guys are in 6 anyway, so they're always going to be in front for whatever they're attacking. These are going to be in behind no matter what. So they pair pretty well, especially against if I wasn't using rates, that'd be great because they tank all the immortal damage, and immortals will take longer to kill Hellions than Goliaths because they're light. I'm just gonna clear up this stuff, and of course, Goliaths are the general death ball unit that most Swanns will want to use. See, this is a problem with wraiths. I have to watch out for Sonic Storms and other AoE spells. Almost lost it, but not quite, because of teleport, which is great.
Our allies are being attacked.
Let's just suicide this guys back in. Did I lose a tank? I didn't lose a tank. Oh, it's right there, that's why.
Your forces are under attack.
But what was I talking about? Oh, yeah, wraiths.
Upgrade. Our allies.
So I like wraiths because they clump. They're fast. It makes my army really fast and mobile. I never really have to worry about making it anywhere in time because they ignore terrain. They're just flyers. They're fragile. They require a lot of attention, but I'm okay with that. If you're not okay with that, Goliaths, of course, are pretty good. Pretty consistent units. Cover all your bases. Nothing to worry about with Goliaths, really, other than Banelings, which is why raids can be good sometimes. Banelings, Immortals, and Reavers, really, which is what I'm fighting, which is why I like using raids. Like, this guy's just useless. So check my upgrades. max L and everything, max out, check rally point. So let's attack this base because we're bored. Thors. Thors are another good, they're a good unit. They require a lot. They require attention like Wraiths to get the most out of them too. Honestly, if you're just like A-moving with Thors, you're not really getting too much out of them. You might as well use Goliaths if you ask me. You'll get a lot more out of an A-move Goliath blob than Thor because of overkill on Thor. But 330mm cannon that Thors have at the tech lab basically turns them into siege tanks. Like, actually an even better siege tank if you place it well. But placing it well can be an issue because you need to predict, which is pretty easy when it's one of those enemy waves that you see on the map, but sometimes they won't walk the path you want to. They won't walk directly into it, so you need to cover with multiple 330mm cannon shots. I mean, it's good. It just requires more attention to detail. I like siege tanks for anti-ground just because I drop them, I forget. Or I drop them, then they're just on autopilot, and then I can control my Wraiths or Goliaths or whatever else I'm using. And most of the time, what you're really fighting is ground. Even if you're fighting air, you still have your laser beams, which will just blot out the sun in terms of air because of the giant clumps they go to. So Thors are good too. I mean, they have a mortality protocol. It's just I'm not a fan, generally speaking. Cyclones, I'm not a fan of either. They're expensive. They require a lot of upgrades to be good. Or they have those 2 upgrades. 150 gas for a unit that only has, I want to say off the top of my head, like 200 something HP. That's ridiculous. I mean, tanks are only 125, and they have like they have 200. Or they have immortality, which is what gives them sturdiness. So even if you lose one, you don't really lose one. And they're far back. They shouldn't really be engaging too much versus Cyclones. So unless you're like a micro god or just love Cyclones, I would not suggest using them if you're starting out as Cyclone or starting out as Swann or have problems with Swann or having problems with Swann. Science vessels, of course, are good. Thor or Hercules are, of course, good. I think that covers most units. Like, look at these Wraiths. I think that's pretty underrated right there against Terran mech and actually Protoss mech. But Terran mech is trickier, of course, because Goliaths and Thors. We could just spawn camp with this, actually. Who cares? If the enemy has a lot of Thors, you might want to fall back with Wraiths and fall back to your tanks and poke and prod with your Wraiths instead of just going in with your Wraiths and then attacking. Those just died. I guess we're just going into trivia round then. Useful bit of trivia is your concentrated beam. You can shoot it anywhere without vision, so I could shoot this thing. And then I could go like this. I could have used my nuke, but I want to use my nuke for this thing, if it actually gets a chance. Which I suppose it doesn't. He's not giving it a chance. I'll just kill with my Wraiths. And there goes that. Oh, Hercules. Hold up. I'll demonstrate Hercules real quick. Something cool about them. Even if you kill a Hercules, all the units inside still survive. So that's pretty cool. Unless you're like over a hazard that they can't spawn on. I think if I had them like right here, they would have died and been lost. But looks like that's it for this mission. Wasn't really as exciting as I was hoping it would be because I got paired with a Vulture Rainer. But hope that gives you a good idea of what you can do with Swann, and Even if you have 0 mastery, he's still pretty good, I think. So, have fun with Swann and try him out. Just remember early on to rely on your turrets and salvage them a bit, and use your drop to always clear out multiple positions as opposed to just one and leaving them there. So if you have any questions, you can leave a comment, I guess.